CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Evan Kenny.
And what I'm fearful of is that there will be a ripple effect, that even more survivors will avoid the justice system.
Not guilty. The verdicts in the sexual assault trial of 5 former World Junior hockey players, reaction to the end of the 8-week trial. Good evening. A London, Ontario judge handed down not guilty verdicts on all charges in a high-profile sexual assault trial today. The trial concluded with the judge telling 5 former World Junior hockey players they're free to go. Advocates for sexual assault victims say the decision has left them disappointed but not surprised. CTV's Nair Manisa has the reaction to the acquittals.
What do we want?
After an 8-week trial, 5 former members of the 2018 World Junior Hockey team arrived to see its conclusion. Michael McLeod, Dylan Dubé, Carter Hart, Alex Formenton, and Cal Foote were each charged with sexual assault stemming from an encounter in a hotel room in June of 2018. The judge found them not guilty on all charges.
We have received dozens of messages from people across Canada and abroad asking us to pass along these messages of thanks and support for EM.
The woman at the center of the case, referred to in court as EM, says she consented to going to a hotel for sex with McLeod, but was later sexually assaulted by his teammates after McLeod invited them to the room. Justice Maria Caracia said she did not find the evidence of EM to be either credible or reliable, adding where she had gaps in her memory, she filled them with assumptions.
I think she could have done all that she needed to do if she was intent on finding those boys not guilty by not just rubbing more salt into the wound.
Mary Jane James with the Sexual Assault Centre of Edmonton says this was a complex case. She says only about 6% of sexual assault victims pursue charges.
And what I'm fearful of is that there will be a ripple effect, that even more survivors will avoid the justice system.
This sports culture professor says the case has created some positive discussion.
There's been some important changes to Hockey Canada and some important recognition of some of the problems and challenges within high performance sport and hockey in particular. And so I hope that those efforts will continue.
James says while she respects the justice's decision,
the behavior that they demonstrated in that room that night was reprehensible at best. And I hope that they will take this experience and go forward and have learned something from it.
The Crown's office says her team will review the decision and that she has no further comment as the case is within the appeal period. Nair Manisa, CTV News, Edmonton.
As RCMP search for dozens of stolen vehicles connected to a car theft ring, it's offering up some tips to drivers. For the past 6 months, police have been investigating an organized car theft ring responsible for taking nearly 200 vehicles. They say the group used the Alberta Registry's third-party authorization system to register fake vehicle identification numbers under other people's names. There are ways to prevent this, according to police. One is reporting your ID if it's lost or stolen.
If you're the victim of stolen ID or identity theft, when you're in the registries, check and see if there's a vehicle that you don't know that is registered in your name. And if you find that, then please contact the police.
Police also say you can check if a VIN is fake by taking it in for an inspection or to a car dealership. Since December, police say they've recovered nearly $2 million worth of stolen vehicles from across Canada and overseas. A St. Albert man says he's killed thousands of grasshoppers in his yard so far this summer. Despite his efforts, the infestation continues. CTV's Merrick Takash reports.
Alan Lubberding has been keeping busy doing something he'd rather not.
I've killed by now 2 weeks, 2,000, at least 2,000.
Grasshoppers can be seen on his plants, on the sidewalk, on top of the fence, and in his pool.
Some of them are still moving. We've been living here for 30 years, never seen grasshoppers like this. In 30 years, never seen it.
Lubberding says the field behind his house belongs to the province's transportation utility corridor, and it's crawling with them.
I can kill what's in my yard, but they just keep coming over the fence from the field.
The city of St. Albert says it has received a few recent complaints. A communications advisor tells CTV News the issue is not exclusive to the city and is something areas around the province are experiencing. She added they are monitoring the situation.
Probably what happened was there might have been some green growth in a certain spot last year, and the female grasshoppers were attracted to that, laid most of their eggs there. So there's always somebody who's unlucky and they're closest to it. That could be it.
This environmental science professor says keeping your yard wet is the best way to keep them away. But when dealing with large infestations...
So there's no easy solution, unfortunately. However, finding those spots where they were laying eggs could help prevent a little bit of the problem next year.
As the weather gets warmer, more bugs are joining the fray.
They're just everywhere. Like, you can't sit and enjoy your yard, and they're chewing the plants. We spend our time trying to catch and kill grasshoppers.
For now, Lubberding's grandchildren will continue to help him deal with the problem. Merrick Takash, CTV News, St. Albert.
Construction on the low-level bridge will begin next week, which means some substantial traffic detours. Starting Monday, you will not be able to drive north on the bridge. Anyone heading that way will have to take the James McDonald Bridge instead. The city says there may also be some lane reductions for traffic headed south. Crews are creating a temporary crossover to the North Bridge. That part of construction is expected to be completed by early to mid-August. The South Bridge will then fully close until construction is complete. The city says it should be done by the end of the year. Pedestrians and cyclists can continue to cross the river on the low-level bridge. The city marked National Drowning Prevention Week with demonstrations on how to stay safe in and around the water. City staff showed what a properly fitted life jacket looks like. It should not ride up over your chin. The Life Saving Society says about 40 to 50 people drown in Alberta each year. It says most of those deaths happen in areas that aren't supervised by lifeguards.
As individuals, we can take simple steps. Wear a life jacket, supervise children actively, learn to swim, and never swim alone.
Earlier this year, life jackets became mandatory on the North Saskatchewan River. A restaurant in South Edmonton is hoping customers will bring some school supplies with them. The Varsity on 106th Street near the White Mud is collecting school supplies for the Edmonton Public School Foundation.
We named it the Varsity, based after universities and school, and that's what our theme is, and we want to help the neighborhood and education as much as possible.
If you'd like to donate, the Varsity is collecting school supplies until September 9th. A Canmore hiking guide has spent the past 3 years searching for the bison herd in Banff National Park. On his quest to find the elusive animals, he's accomplished another goal, hiking every marked trail in the national park. CTV's Kevin Fleming reports.
He has a massive map of Banff National Park on his living room wall, and Jeff Douglas has kept track of every trail he's hiked by marking them in yellow and blue.
So mid-August to mid-September, I let my schedule as a guide be a little bit light, and if there's a 3-day or 4-day weather window, I have a very understanding wife and would see what I could accomplish during that time frame.
Douglas owns Mountain Goat Adventures and is a professional hiking guide. His wife supported his quest to hike all the trails and find the bison herd. She also made sure he was safe.
So usually at night and in the morning, Jeff will confirm via his InReach and the GPS device where he's at, if he's doing okay, if he needs anything, what his plan is for the day. So I always have an idea of the route he's taking as well, so I can track him along the way and make sure he's okay.
Parks Canada reintroduced 16 bison in the park in 2017. Since then, their numbers have grown to close to 135. They're monitored by staff who tries to make sure they stay within the park boundaries.
These bison certainly are wildlife, a lot like any other species in the park, and they're integrating into the landscape and improving the ecological integrity like we'd hoped.
This spring, on day 3 of his last 4-day hike, Douglas hit pay dirt and came across the bison.
I just sat down. I probably spent 45 minutes I didn't even pull out my phone or take my pack off. Just sat down on a rock and wanted to be present there. I've seen every animal in the park, and I don't know why, it was really majestic. It was a bit emotional. The whole project came full circle, and I had an absolutely spectacular day without a cloud in the sky.
Both he and his wife are proud of his achievement in covering over 2,000 kilometers of trails in the park and hope it inspires others to explore it. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Canmore.
Another Edmonton summer staple is now open for business. The Edmonton Corn Maze opened today. This year's design is an homage to a local business, the Little Potato Company. The Corn Maze rents land from a farmer who grows potatoes for that company. The maze takes months to make.
In the spring, we start dreaming up an idea, and then we come up with blueprints and plant the corn, the whole field full in the middle of May, and we let it grow till about 6 inches tall. Then we spend some time gritting it out, and then we cut out the corn we don't need with a rototiller and let the rest of it grow.
The corn is already 6 to 7 feet tall. It's expected the sunflowers will start blooming in a couple weeks. A new Statistics Canada report shows many Canadians are still shying away from travel to the U.S. Some Edmontonians feel there are better options abroad, within Canada, and even here in the city. CTV's Nav Sanga reports.
Taking a trip to our neighbors down south has become less appealing for Canadians. According to a new Statistics Canada report, return trips from the United States by Canadian citizens fell nearly 32% in May compared to last year. For some, it's because of the Canadian dollar.
I think it's mainly due to our dollar, right? The strength of it, or I guess the lack of strength.
It's too expensive to go to the States. You can't afford it.
For others, it's because of Donald Trump and the political tension between the two countries.
Trump can take his 51st state. No, we're not. It's not happening. Canada, strong. We're staying here.
It doesn't feel welcoming and safe right now, I guess.
Travel agent Megan Duncan says decreased demand has resulted in airlines reducing U.S.-bound flights.
Yeah, just overall demand for sure is affecting the airlines wanting to keep the frequency up.
The Statistics Canada report also shows more Canadians are choosing to travel overseas, with a nearly 9% increase in May.
I mean, Europe is always major in the summer. That hasn't slowed down really at all. People are still doing their big bucket list Europe summer trips.
Duncan has also noticed more people traveling within borders.
I think people are kind of shifting their quicker weekend or 5-day trips to kind of Eastern Canada or Vancouver kind of area. So
with summer festivals like Taste of Edmonton and K-Days, Edmontonians we spoke to say there's plenty to explore in our own backyard.
I would like to travel around Edmonton and just our area because we have so much to see and there's so much to offer, so you may as well check it out while you can.
Phenomenal. It's lots of festivals and activities. Yeah, it's a great place to be.
Nav Sanga, CTV News, Edmonton.
Coming up next, why a picture of our province is being showcased on grocery store shelves across the country. Also just ahead, 1 year since the town of Jasper was hit by a wildfire, tourists from near and far are showing their support.
People are coming back. The town is busy, the park is busy, but there's always space for people to come and visit. We're actively inviting people to come and enjoy Jasper this summer.
Well, we did see some storms roll through as we went throughout the late afternoon and through parts of the evening. As far as the weather, it settles down a little bit for Friday, but it's cooler, and that carries into the weekend. I have those details coming up.
While many local tourists are staying closer to home, people are still coming from far and wide to visit Jasper. Today marks 1 year since a third of the Jasper town site was destroyed by a catastrophic fire. The eager return of tourists is a bright spot in its ongoing recovery. CTV's Miriam Valdez-Carletti has more.
Alpine Village Cabin Resort is rebuilding its legacy, one log cabin at a time. Last year's wildfire destroyed 25 of its 56 cabins and surrounding property.
There's been a lot of change. It was devastating to lose half of our property.
Co-owners Rena and Chris Allen say it's meant a 65% drop in their income. Why, 1 year later, they're overjoyed to open their doors to tourists again.
They've been bringing us chocolates and baking and flowers and everything, and we've had many, many hugs.
The property is fully booked, but because of their losses, they consider it half full.
A lot of people were quite sad, quite upset because they had lost their favorite cabin that they'd been returning to.
Tourists embracing the different but still picturesque landscape.
I visited here in 2010. A lot has changed, but it's great to be back here to see just how beautiful it is.
In terms of the views, it's still incredible. It's still amazing to be here, right?
Parks Canada says tourism in the national park was down 2% in May and June from last year. In May, there was 187,000 visitors, down from 194,000 last year. In June, there were 231,000 visitors, down from 240,000. April, however, actually had a boost in visitors compared to last year.
People are coming back. Town is busy. The park is busy. But there's always space for people to come and visit. We're actively inviting people to come and enjoy Jasper this summer.
The Jasper wildfire complex burned more than 32,000 hectares, leaving 25% of campgrounds in the park closed for the year. With campgrounds already in high demand, they're fully booked this summer.
The occupancy rates are pretty good. So I don't know that we could fit many more people in the destination.
With a third of the town site destroyed, Tourism Jasper says there's 20% less places to stay for visitors.
Hotel occupancy has been running around 96%, which is really, really good. It's very hard to get higher than that.
Steady income, that's crucial for businesses.
We're not going to have any insurance help through the winter, so this will really just be, we're going to have to make as much money as we can, keep our margins tight.
With summer in full swing, many tourists aren't letting the damaged landscape deter them from visiting the iconic mountain destination. Some tourists are even making it a priority to come back to Jasper after the wildfire.
I was on the train almost here from Vancouver, and we had to turn around in the middle of the night because of the fire and go back to Vancouver, and they sent us home. So we're trying again this year.
The post-fire landscape, a lesson in nature for tourists.
It provides an opportunity to see natural processes and the regeneration of the park and the ecosystem.
The Allens helping that process along on their property.
Back in September, my son arranged with some friends of his who were tree planters to plant 10,000 small native seedlings.
They've steadily grown, sprouting hope. Like nature, this business can return to its former glory. In Jasper, Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News.
Jasper is being featured on Nutella jars across the country, courtesy of a local photographer. The photo shows Pyramid Mountain with Patricia Lake in the forefront. The photo ended up on the limited edition jars before Edson-based photographer Sean Simmons even knew about it. Simmons says he was contacted a few months back about licensing a photo, but he wasn't told what it was for. He says it's surreal to know Canadians across the country have his image in their cupboards.
And that wasn't my intention. It'd be different if that's what my intention was, but it wasn't what my intention was. So, yeah, it took me a little bit to process that, and I thought it was really cool. It's exciting and a little bit satisfying to know that, I get recognized for an image that I worked hard for.
Simmons says he is grateful to have a large portfolio of pictures of Jasper before last year's wildfire. He says one day it will be pristine again.
The unfortunate part about the wilderness is to keep it beautiful, it has to go through periods of devastation, right? So it will come back. It'll come back better and stronger and more beautiful. It may not be soon, but it will come back.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Well, we did feel the heat today. We made it up to 29, but then as soon as those storms rolled through later into the afternoon, our temperature dropped off and we hung around 24 for much of the late afternoon and early evening. Average seasonal high is 24. We fall below that once again for tomorrow and the days to follow, but we do have some heat coming our way for next week as we end off the month and head into August. Today's highs, we made it to 29, Red Deer 28. We also felt the heat in the north, Cold Lake 28, Fort McMurray 23, and in the south we had some 30s, Medicine Hat and Lethbridge. Taking a look at the future cast as we go throughout the late evening and overnight period, could still see some lingering thunderstorms in and around the region. Most of those pulling off to the east, northeast. Red Deer and areas west overnight could see a few active storms. And then as we go throughout the day on Friday, a little bit more cloud than sun. And with that cloud, there's a chance that we could see some scattered showers. We might see some more sunny breaks so as we get into late Friday. And then Saturday at this point is looking like a mix of sun and cloud with a chance of showers south of the city. Tomorrow's lows will start off around 14. Areas to the northwest, Peace River, Grand Prairie in single digits. And to the south, Red Deer 12 to start off, Calgary 13. As we take a look at the highs, a little bit cooler for tomorrow. That's going to be the case for areas to the north of us. Cold Lake, though, not too bad at 24. That's close to average seasonal high. Lac La Biche 23, but Fort McMurray a little bit cooler than that, 19 degrees. Red Deer 16, Calgary 19. Again, early into the day, and then later into the day, we could see some scattered showers, possibly some thunderstorms. For us here in Edmonton, late p.m. overnight, possibly a few lingering storms. Tomorrow morning, we start off at 15, becoming gusty, so a little bit windy for tomorrow. 21 with a chance that we could see some scattered showers. Pretty slight, but that chance is there. Saturday, 21 with a mix of sun and cloud, and then Sunday, 19, 40% chance of showers. And then we start to warm up. Close to seasonal for Monday. Tuesday, 27. And take a look at the end of the month. As we end off July and head into August, we've got some 30s in the forecast. That trend has been holding for the week, so we do have that heat to look forward to. In the meantime, some cooler, but still nice days to come our way.
A man who transcended pro wrestling to become a household name has died. Terry Bollea, better known as Hulk Hogan, was pronounced dead at a hospital in Florida after an apparent cardiac arrest at the age of 71. The Hulkster rose to stardom in the 80s, captivating wrestling fans with energetic promos and his muscle-bound physique. He found success outside the ring, famously appearing in Rocky III as Thunder Lips. Hogan was caught on tape using racial slurs about a decade ago, and in recent years he got more involved with politics, supporting Donald Trump. For longtime fans, including people here in Edmonton, it's a complicated history.
For a lot of us, you realize that maybe your heroes don't hold the same values as you do, the core values, as you get older, and that's really something that's hard to square away.
Radio host Scott McCord says Hulk Hogan was part of some of the biggest moments in professional wrestling, including WrestleMania 3 in 1987 when he fought Andre the Giant. McCord compares Hogan's stardom to that of Wayne Gretzky or the Beatles. Some of the best coffee baristas in the country are in Edmonton this weekend. They are vying for a national title. And as CTV's Amanda Anderson explains, competitors aren't making your average cup of joe.
This barista has just 15 minutes to make coffee that will wow a panel of judges. She's one of 18 baristas competing in the National Barista Championship hosted by Edmonton's Columbian Coffee Bar and Roastery.
We just wanted to bring that vibrancy and just have people from across Canada come to actually check us out as like a very thriving scene of specialty coffee.
Competitors tell a story as they brew.
The coffees that are actually being used at this competition are some of the best coffees that you will ever have access to in your life. These coffees are sourced and they are very, very expensive, but they're sourced from really phenomenal coffee producers.
Each barista is required to make 3 coffees.
So we'll do the pure espresso, a milk beverage, which is like cappuccino, and then we'll do a signature beverage. So it's a drink created with coffee. It's kind of like a mocktail.
The whole time they have not 1, but 10 judges watching their every move and listening to every word. This is Kitty Chan's second time at Nationals. The Calgarian says it can be nerve-wracking.
We were taught to think of them as like micromanagers at the cafe.
The judges want to ensure whomever wins will be the best to represent Canada at the World Barista Championships in the fall. Canada has finished 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at previous World Championships, but has yet to win.
They want to make sure that they possess the skills to present, the technical skills, the knowledge of coffee, as well as the sensory knowledge to know how to communicate a sensory experience to people.
There are 5 baristas from Edmonton competing in the Nationals this weekend. It's taking place through Sunday at the Oliver Exchange 2 building and is open to the public. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
I'm pretty basic when it comes to coffee, but I'm sure those cups taste delicious. That's all the time that we have tonight. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good rest of your night.